Well, I would say the Dodgers. I mean, or Texas. I think it'd be interesting to see him in Texas. I don't want to see him in Seattle. As I don't think he's going to make a big difference with Seattle. They don't need pitching as much as they need some hitting. I think he would help a pitching staff significantly. I know he can. You're right. I guess Seattle can't hit, so maybe there too. I would say the Dodgers. I mean, Texas would be interesting. I don't know if they want to trade him to a team in Texas. I don't know if they want to trade him to the Dodgers. But, if the Dodgers have the most to give up, they got a great farm system as usual. They're being the playoffs. Chavez Ravine. If I had to pick a spot for Ohtani that would be good for the sport, and it's not going to be on the East Coast. If it's good for the sport, I would say the Dodgers. Having him in Dodger blue, in that ballpark, postseason, have him pitch, have him hit. Now, again, they got Martinez to be a DH. He's not an outfielder. I don't know what they do with him, but I would say from a standpoint of that, LA would be the best spot for him.
All right, well, let me throw this at you. What about an outlier that maybe to a lot of people it doesn't make sense, but just for conversation's sake, what about just for a 2-month rental, not beyond this season, what about the Orioles?
Wouldn't mind seeing it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And the Orioles have a great farm system. He would really help. That's a great one on your part. Excellent one to pick up. If you tell me right now that Ohtani would be on the Orioles in Camden Yards in that great little park, and they need a pitcher, offense, that would be fun. I will grant you that. You came up with the perfect one. Baltimore's got tradition, historical, Camden Yards, East Coast. Division's good. That would be fun. So you're right. I'll take Baltimore.
I would like to see. I love Baltimore. I love what they're doing. I love what Hyde's doing. I love all of it. I'd love to see Ohtani there for a couple of months. Maybe not forever, but for a couple of months for sure. Why not sign Adley Rutschman long-term and get Shohei Ohtani while you're at it? Okay. Would you rather trade for Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer?
I probably would, from a financial standpoint. Remember, Verlander's got an option too. Scherzer has 1 more year. Verlander theoretically has got 2. Scherzer's a little younger. He's been a little bit when he is on. Yesterday, only 1 hit, 7 innings. He's been better than Verlander. I probably would take. Now, Verlander threw 98 miles an hour the other day, but I probably would take Scherzer. That's a very interesting question. I'm going to look at it from a financial perspective. He's only got 1 year left at $43 million, while Verlander's got $43 million, and then he's got the option. So you got to worry about that at 42 years of age. I guess Scherzer. I guess him.
Okay. So you take it from a financial perspective, which I understand. I'm going to take it from a postseason perspective, just because if a team is trading for one of these guys, they're assuming that they're needing a playoff push and they're going to be in the postseason. So let me tell you this. Verlander, 16-11, 3.64 earned run average and 34 starts, but he has had a bad World Series, 1-6, 5.63 ERA and 9 starts. Scherzer, 7-7, 3.58 ERA in 22 starts, so 12 fewer postseason starts than Verlander, plus 5 relief appearances, if you will. World Series 1-0, a 3.86 ERA in 3 starts. So Verlander has had more postseason opportunities, but neither one of them have tremendous postseason numbers. Does that change your opinion at all?
Yeah, a little bit. And Scherzer was bad last year. He got ambushed by the Padres. The year before that, he got the big out against the Giants, the 9th inning there when he came in relief, but he couldn't answer the bell in Game 6 in Atlanta, and he didn't pitch well against the Giants earlier in that series. And he wasn't great in the World Series in 19. That was all Strasburg. That was not, you just gave you the statistics. That was not Scherzer. That was Strasburg who won that World Series for Washington, and he's 38 years of age. So maybe based on what you said, maybe I would lean a little bit more to Verlander. I'm looking at it from that option year where I believe it's he can pick up the option. It's a mutual deal with the player and the owner. I think he can get $25 million if he opts, whatever it is. He gets more money in 2 years than Scherzer does, and I would concern myself if I was an owner there. I think it's a tough call. I still lean to Scherzer, but you did.
From the Mets. Yes, I made a mistake. I apologize. How about we get to the Rizzo report and some things that we have to look out for as far as big series coming up this week. We begin with the Orioles looking to extend their winning streak to 9 games. This is a team that just has a 1-game deficit in the division behind the Rays. They're going to look to extend that streak to 9 games when they start a 3-game series against those Dodgers. That happened to take 2 of 3 from the Mets in Camden Yards tonight. That game right here on MLB Network. Now, the Orioles had started trailing the Rays by 6.5 games, but have cut the deficit to just 1 game. Now, they had that 6.5 game lead at the beginning of July. The Orioles had won 10 in a row last season, but before that, you have to go all the way back to 1999 to find their last 9-game win streak over a single season. The Orioles calling up Grayson Rodriguez to return to the mound tonight. He's the number 2 pitching prospect in baseball, according to MLB.com. So we will see him on the mound again. 7.35 earned run average in his first Major League Baseball starts, but hopefully he gets things turned around because he posted a 1.69 ERA in 7 starts since the demotion. How about the Rays opening a series against the Texas Rangers? This is going to be a good one because both teams right now are in first place in their respective divisions. Now, 2 first-place teams are going to meet in Texas. They're going to start a 3-game series tonight. Over the weekend, the Rangers swept the lowly Guardians, in a 3-game series that knocked Cleveland out of first place in the AL Central. So the Guardians, not lowly. They're still very much in the hunt as far as the Central is concerned. The Rays are about to start a very rough stretch, though. We talked about it in the brushback. Chris and I did. 15 games, all coming against the Rangers, the Orioles, the Marlins, the Astros, and the Yankees. Now, Shane McClanahan is coming back from the IL. That will be a boost, of course, for the Rays. Now, the Rangers are going to counter with Dane Dunning, who has gone 6-2 since replacing the injured Jacob deGrom in their rotation. Meanwhile, Corey Seager, the All-Star, looks to continue his red-hot month. He is hitting 396 with 9 extra base hits in his first 12 games of July. So that'll be a great series to keep an eye on, the Rays and the Rangers. Finally, the Giants open up a series against the Reds. This is also going to be a big series, but these 2 teams are kind of going in opposite directions. The Giants have won 5 in a row. They now hold the first wild card spot in the National League. The Reds were swept by the Brewers. We talked about that also in the brushback. They were swept by them to open the second half. Of course, the Reds just kind of swinging and missing, swinging at balls outside of the strike zone. Giants ace Logan Webb will open this series tonight. He's going to face Reds rookie southpaw Brandon Williamson. The Giants have won 5 of Webb's last 7 starts. He's gone 4-1 over that span. Chris, you and I talked about it a little bit off camera, and in the brushback you had mentioned it, but the Reds are just a bunch of guys that are kind of free swinging, but not necessarily being patient at the plate. They're swinging at balls out of the strike zone, not making sure that they're getting the pitch that they want to hit. They've got to change things quickly before the Brewers kind of run away with this thing, and the Giants certainly have something to say too about making sure they're in that wild card position.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I didn't see all the Brewers-Reds games. I saw a little of this, a little of that. Friday night, I noticed it a little bit. I spoke to a buddy of mine who loves the Reds. He's 70 years old, watches every game, and he said, boy, they swung on a lot of bad pitches. And they were shut out 3 times. So there might be something to it. And they are a free-swinging team. Hey, this is an interesting spot for the Reds. You know, they had such a tremendous run. Now they're 2 back. They have not proved they can beat the Brewers. We'll see if the owners spend some money and add some payroll, if they give up a prospect or 2 to get some extra pitching, although their pitching really wasn't a problem this weekend. A little crisis point for Cincinnati. Chances are the second-place team in that division may not make the playoffs, so you have to win the division. You only have one avenue. The Giants, as you said, good series in Pittsburgh, 3 straight wins. You know, they got a lot of, the Giants know what they're doing. You know, they know who they are. Bailey's been a tremendous find behind the plate. They know who they are. They don't get too fancy with themselves. Their bullpen much better. They have a good feel of their platoon roles and what everybody's got to do to be rowing in the right direction. So it's interesting 4 games for Cincinnati. We'll see a little crisis point for them. And the Giants, listen, they got to be fair with them. They're probably going to make the playoffs in the NL. Probably going to get in.
Yeah, it's a tougher test to figure out who's going to make it in the National League. You and I have discussed that at length because there's so many teams that are right there in that postseason picture in the senior circuit. But when you think about the Brewers, we automatically think pitching, right? But we also have to give Christian Yelich some credit because when Christian Yelich was the MVP, he then had quite a slump in between that MVP year and now. He's made some changes with his stance. He has a little bit of a different toe tap. Matt Arnold was on the show on Friday talking about how good he's playing again. And honestly, when I asked Matt Arnold what changes they were going to make at the deadline, they need to get some more bats in that lineup because they don't score that many runs. So you have the Brewers pitching, which we know is solid. Woodruff is coming back. Christian Yelich is playing well. If they can add another bat, the Brewers certainly can be a bit dangerous going down the stretch. As far as the Reds are concerned, they have a lot of young players. In fact, they might be actually calling up one of their biggest prospects to join Ellie De La Cruz, Christian Encarnacion Strand. He's been hitting .331 with 20 home runs at a 1.042 OPS in AAA. He's going to join Ellie De La Cruz, as I mentioned, Matt McClain, Spencer Steer as rookies in the Reds' very young but talented lineup, Chris. So this is a team that obviously maybe they don't know what they don't know, and that could be a good thing because they don't have a ton of experience as far as playing at the big league level and trying to get into the postseason. But I do like that infusion of youth that the Reds have, coupled with some veteran players, of course, the likes of Joey Votto and those types of things. I like this Reds team, but perhaps the Brewers' experience and time in the postseason and just more veteran players ends up making the difference in the NL Central.
And Yelich, 14 home runs. LA, Atlanta, and Milwaukee, let's put them in the postseason. To me, you got 5 teams for 3 spots. Phillies, Giants, Reds, Arizona, Marlins. I mean, those are your spots. Colorado's not in. Mets aren't making it. I mean, those are your 5 teams for the 3 spots in the NL. If you had to take 3 of the 5, who'd you take? Phillies, Giants, Reds, Diamondbacks, Marlins. You pick the 3.
All right, I'm gonna take the Diamondbacks, the Phillies,